Beautiful feature there. The show continues to get interesting as we proceed. We have a well-grounded person, knowledgeable in the area of parenting, and a life coach with us in the studio. Her name is Mrs. Elizabeth Isola. It's great to have you on the show, ma'am.
Thank you.
You look beautiful.
Thank you, and you look beautiful too.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
Okay, so let's head straight to business. What are the common misconceptions people have about parenting?
People have different misconceptions, and I want to believe that what we're tagging misconceptions is based on values. You know, for instance, some people believe that children should not do chores. As strange as it sounds, I have seen so many people live their lives that way. Because some people come from royal family where every single thing was done for them growing up, and you can't give what you don't have. So at the end of the day, they raise these children that don't do chores. For some people, they also believe that money is enough. Once there is money, everything will be fine. So they don't bother training. You know, there's a difference between training and a difference between training and teaching. So most times we don't train, we just teach or give instructions, and that won't work because we're expected to train the children. You know, the Bible says, train up a child in the way he should go, so that when he is old, he will not depart from it. And then some people also believe that the child will always turn out well.
Regardless of what you do.
Once they grow up, they'll turn out well. So they just leave everything.
How did they nurture such children? Just leave everything?
They leave everything to chance. Some people don't talk to their children. There's no communication. The child just grows. So when you meet them as adults, you will know. Because they are not expressive, no training. So they don't even talk. There's nothing to talk about. Yes, because they grew up not talking. Nobody talks at home. You get back from school. You eat.
Do your
probably do your assignments, sleep, and then the parents are busy. They're out there making money. So they don't talk with their parents. And you know there's no vacuum in this life. Somebody will talk to them. And that's why we have so many ills.
And when the wrong persons talk to them?
So many ills in the society. Because the wrong person will show up and sow the wrong seeds that will bear fruits. It's just a matter of time.
So what you could not do, the wrong person would do it.
Exactly.
And that's why we have children that contribute to societal vices.
Exactly.
Wow. Thank you so much for that insight. How would you raise a child that is both godly and intelligent?
When we talk about raising a child that is godly and intelligent, we're talking about raising a child that has the fear of God and a child that learns well. Okay. Now, when we're talking about a godly child, we're talking about a child that makes choices. Because when you talk about godliness, you're talking about the hearts and the choices that we make. So if the child is raised to fear God, to imbibe the values of godliness, that child will make right choices, and that child will have a good heart that, shows the background from which that child is coming from. And then when you say a child is intelligent, you are saying that that child learns well. And this will manifest by the wisdom they display, by the understanding they have of life, and the problem-solving skills that they manifest. That's what shows that, okay, this child learns well and is intelligent. And then if the child has the fear of God, the child will have a good heart and will know between right and wrong.
Okay, one thing with training is that just like in classes in schools, when teachers train you, when teachers teach you, they give you continuous assessment and try to check if whatever they taught, you understood what they taught. They would figure that out with the grades you get. So as parents, how do you step back and try to watch if the upbringing you're giving your child is in there already? How do you evaluate the training that you give your child?
Now, when it comes to training a child, one of the very important things that you must put to work is consistency. There must be consistency and there must be repeated practices. Okay. So you can't give birth to a child and just do one thing once. I always say to my children, if it is good, do it again. So consistency, for instance, you want the child to be godly, you must be consistent with prayers, consistent with the studying of the word. And it's not about instructing the child to pray, it's about you praying. Because the truth is that children are molded by what they see. The things they see is what really molds them. It's not what you tell them.
So
You have to live an exemplary life, exactly. So your prayer life, your study life must be consistent. So if you want that child to truly become what you believe you want the child to be, then you must also have routine. You must first become that thing, and then you must have a routine. There must be a routine to ensure there is repeated practice. Because the moment you break off, you have told the child that it's okay to start and stop. It's okay not to be consistent. And consistency is one of the things that births greatness. You want to be great at anything, you must learn to be consistent. So for you to get that child into that place that you want, consistency is your key. You must be consistent with prayers. Then when it comes to learning, you must be consistent with them reading. You should be able to inculcate reading into their daily habits. So there are daily habits that will help that child to become, exactly how you want the child to be.
So recently I read a book by a Nigerian author. The title of the book is When Fishes Climb Tree. In the book, the author tries to make parents understand that when your child have certain strengths, you should try to encourage them to follow a career path in line with those strengths, in line with those gifts. Do you agree with his school of thoughts? Do you agree with that school of thought that you should allow your children choose career path in line with their strengths, in line with the talents that God has given them?
Yeah, the truth is that many times parents always have that thought that they know the best and they want to help shape the future of their children. So they put in these efforts, I'm a victim of such. And I tried not to do that with my children, but somewhere along the line, it looked like I did. Why would I say that? Because my first daughter, she was a science student and she was excelling. She was doing great. She was an A+ student. But somewhere along the line in SS2, she started complaining that she didn't want to be a science student. Why? It didn't make sense to me. So at that point, I felt, no, you're not doing poorly. Because some parents think, okay, if the child is excelling in that area, why shouldn't the child stay there? Forgetting that this child will feel inadequate and feel not good enough, despite the fact that they are doing excellently well in that course or that subject. So at the end of the day, she came up to me one day and said, Mommy, I can't do this. I can't continue with sciences. And I was like, okay, this is SS2, and this is Nigeria. Where will you start from? And she said she doesn't even mind repeating. She wants to do law. And that's how she switched at SS2. And today she's a lawyer.
Wow.
And she's happy.
And she's doing great.
And she's doing great. So I think, and then sometimes it takes time before you even find out exactly what you want to do. There are different areas to this thing. So it's good to encourage them. Don't push down their talent. I was just speaking with someone just before I entered here. My last child, in fact, for me, he has not found his bearing. Because one, he said it was law, then later he said international relations. So you see, parents will want to guide you, help you so that you don't miss it. But the truth is that you should, number one, not force them. Watch them. That's why you're a parent. Try to find out what they are good at. Encourage them, to be in that space. But there are children that can't even, they're good at so many things. I call my first daughter the multi-talented one. She's good at music, she can draw, she's good at finance, she's good at speaking, she's good at everything. So I call her my most talented. She's very talented. So picking an area was a bit difficult, but thank God she came that time and said, no, this is what I want to do. So I want to encourage. That chose law? Yes. Oh, okay. So I want to encourage parents to please speak with your children. If you don't have the skills, get a guidance counselor. Let them talk with a guidance counselor that will give them direction. Growing up as a kid, I remember my mom told me I love to gather children. In fact, she thought I'll be a teacher. But my dad, teacher where, that was the way he felt. And then he pushed me into medicine, where I was doing very poorly in further maths and everything science related. By SS1, I knew I would not cope. So I switched to arts and then went in to read law. But guess what? That was still not my satisfaction. I came out as a lawyer, practiced for like 10 years, and still did not feel that fulfillment and joy. And let me tell you, because life is not about money.
True.
The time will come when that child will not just want that thing because that's not their path.
It doesn't even make them happy.
It doesn't make them happy. So court became boring to me. I could be in court and I'm feeling sleepy, and all of that. So after 10 years, I made up my mind. You can't continue living like this. Decide on what you would do with your life. And I delved into counseling. And I find a lot of fulfillment, a lot of joy, coaching, counseling, teaching and all of that. And that's where I am today. And that's where I am thriving, if I want to use the word thriving. So I want to encourage parents that never allow your child, because at the end of the day, the child may still shift to what they want. So don't let them waste their time. You waste 5 years, 10 years trying to get a degree, and at the end of the day, you're not even going to use it. It's like wasted years. So it's better to help them from when they are small to find that thing that they are called, designed to do.
Now that we are in the age of technology, children are using gadgets at, you will see some children 2 years, right? 2 years old. They already have their tablets that they play games with. Although some schools believe that it's a way of helping children learn, I wouldn't argue. But of course, I want to know if it's the right thing to do. If it's the right thing, how do you use these gadgets to ensure that you nurture a child rightly? And how do you use this gadget to instill good values in a child, regardless of the ills it's doing currently in the society?
Yeah, you must pay attention to the gadgets and pay attention to your child. The content is too important. Recently, I was talking to some parents of little children. And for me, I don't think you should allow your child, if there are other ways of learning, that you can use, it's better you use that way for now until they are old enough to understand one or two things. And if there are no other ways, because you can't take out the resources, there's so many resources there that will help these children learn. But then you have to monitor the content. You have to ensure that they are not going outside what they should be doing with those gadgets. And then you have to also ensure that you also give it time. Let there be timing that they use these gadgets. Because for some people, they give the children the gadgets and face other things. They give the children the gadgets as distractions and face
and
other
business.
So you shouldn't do that. There should be a time frame where they use these gadgets. So if it's 1 hour, which for me is even a lot, maybe 15 minutes, 20 minutes, they do what they're supposed to do, being monitored by adults, and then you take it off them. Because
so you monitor the use of these gadgets.
Because some of these gadgets are even addictive. I notice they're addictive because sometimes when a child is with a gadget and you try to take the gadget away from the child begins to throw tantrums, begins to scream.
Especially when the child is not old enough to
Exactly,
use the
because the child is not old. And even if the child is old enough, I've seen 7-year-old, 8 years old crying and shouting because they took a gadget from them. I don't see that as normal. So for me, I think you should just monitor the content, monitor the timing that the gadgets will be used, and I think it will help that child.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Elizabeth Isola, for coming on the show, and thank you for the beautiful insights you shared regarding parenting. It was amazing having you today.
Thank you.